Everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining the healing room tonight. So glad you are here. We have an awesome topic to talk about tonight. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited about our topic tonight, you guys. So glad you're here. You're here, Janine. Hi, you're in. Looks like you're here twice, though. No, just once. Okay. Yep, you're here. All right. Thank you for joining the healing room tonight, everybody. Tonight's topic, I am really excited about this topic, and I think it's because it resonates so much with me. It just really hit home for me. So I am hoping that it will do the same for you. My name is Marcia Williams, and I'm a licensed therapist and a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. And I am here every Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, walking you through the most commonly asked questions and answers that come through my office, through my practice. I have a therapy practice and a coaching practice that you can find more information about on thepassageToPeace.com. But for now, we are here tonight, and I am sharing with you such a really important topic, but a topic that resonates with me personally. Hi, Paul. Good to see you. I often share that I am also on this journey with you. I was married to a narcissist for 30 years. I've been divorced for a little over 4 years, living my absolute best life, telling my story, using my voice. And that's what tonight's topic is about. And actually, I'm going to turn it into a question. Why do we lose our voice in a relationship with a narcissist? Why do we lose our voice? And our voice is who we are. It's how we express ourselves. It's how we express our needs, our boundaries, our wants, our desires, our dreams. What is okay with us, what's not okay with us, our voice. This is what we're finding on this healing journey. But how did we lose it in the first place? So that's our topic tonight. And if you are seeing this after the live, you can drop recap in the chat and you will get a copy of the recap of our conversation tonight. And this one is big. This one is huge. So I'm so glad you're here. The question is, why do we lose our voice in the relationship with a narcissist? So if you're still in the relationship, that's exactly why you're here tonight. This is for you. If you've left the relationship, then you know full well that you lost your voice, because a part of the healing journey is finding your voice. So that's what we're going to talk about. This is called, I love this story, and I'm going to go a little bit in depth about this story. Along the way, you guys, if you have any questions, because this is Q&A too. This is not just me here talking, which I can do. But I always say that because I have 30 years worth of content. So I never run out of things to talk about because of my own experience. And then every day I'm sharing, relating, validating, and resonating with my clients. So it's cathartic for me, but it's also my way of giving back. And that's what makes the 30 years not all for naught. Okay. There was a lot of good things that came out of those 30 years. 3 really good, big things that came out of those 30 years. My 3 boys, whom I love dearly. But tonight's not about them. Tonight's about you. Tonight's about me. The question is, drum roll if I had one. Are you, I am not a comedian. I think I would like to be in one of my lives. Are you an echoist? Are you an echoist? How we lose our voice and how to get it back. That's what we're talking about tonight. All right. So have you ever felt like you lost yourself in a relationship with a narcissist? There's no way that you can't lose yourself, because it's not about you in a relationship with a narcissist. It's about them. So likely your needs were too much, or you stopped having needs. And I know that full well. I remember saying to myself, it's easier to not need anything. I don't need anything. If I get something, yay me. But those were those breadcrumbs that, that we look forward to. But I learned to not expect anything. I think that's the key word. So you might not be the narcissist in the story, but you might be what's called an echoist. Okay. So this is exactly why we ask ourselves, am I the narcissist? Maybe I'm the narcissist. Now, part of that is from the manipulation. That's a very, very big part of it. It is the part of it. But how I feel about the 50-50 rule. 50% is about them. 50% is about you. It's about me. What is it about me? So tonight we're talking about us. I'm going to have to zap my dog because she's going to bark. It's a friendly zap. What is it about us? So tonight we're going to talk about echoism. What is echoism? How does it start? How does it keep you stuck in the relationship? And how to begin to reclaim your voice? All right. So what is echoism? I was listening to a podcast when I heard this term, and I was like, this is very interesting. And it immediately resonated with me. I was immediately like, okay, tell me more, tell me more. And I dug in, and it's fascinating. So if you've heard of echoism, drop it in the chat. Janine says, once I said to my narcissist, the only part of me that's left is my okay. And look, Janine, I hate to tell you, but sometimes that's not ours either. Don't get me started on that. That's another topic of conversation. We're going to bring it back. But Janine, you're on to something. That will be one of my topics, promise, because even that wasn't mine. So I won't say it just to make sure we don't trigger anybody. But good point. Okay, so this was coined by Dr. Craig Malkin. Okay, Dr. Craig Malkin. Echoism is the fear of being a burden or taking up space. Being a burden. We'll just stick with that. The fear of being a burden, the fear of being too much. And it comes from the myth. It's okay, Janine, I love it. Please don't hesitate. This is a free spirit room. Please share anything because like I said, Janine, you're so right. Okay, we're talking about echoism tonight. Are you or were you an echoist? So this comes from the myth of Echo and Narcissus. I'm sorry, Narcissus, which was I'm gonna take you back a little bit with Greek mythology. So we all know that the term narcissism comes from Narcissus, a self-absorbed man who could only love his own reflection. That's where the term narcissism comes from. But who is Echo? Who is Echo? Okay. Echo is the one who loses her voice. Oh, Lord. Echo, cancel. Cancel. Oh, my goodness. Every time I say her name. Oh, boy. I did not think of that before I started this conversation. Wow. All right. I digress. Yeah, my Alexa is going to keep bothering me because I named her Echo. All right, I'm going to stay focused. In Greek mythology, let's talk about who Echo is. In Greek mythology, Echo was a mountain nymph. And a mountain nymph. A mountain is an elevated. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to, excuse me. Significant exposed bedrock. Okay, that was just not going to work. Every time I said Echo, she was going to speak. So I had to shut her down. I had to turn off her voice. Okay. It's about our voice tonight, not a AI. We're humans tonight. All right, let me back up a little bit. For those of you who have just joined, we are talking about echoism. Are you an echoist? Are you an echoist? So echoism itself is the fear of being a burden. the fear of being a burden. But there's so much more to this. So y'all got to stick with me. Let me tell you the history behind this Greek mythology. Echo was a mountain nymph, and that is a divine feminine spirit of nature. Think about this, women. We are divine feminine spirits of nature, of God, of the universe, whatever you want to call it, but we are divine feminine spirits. That deserves a pause. However, Echo, this divine feminine spirit, was cursed by Hera. Hera is the queen of Greek gods. She's the goddess of marriage, women, family, and childbirth. So she's the queen of the Greek gods era. And so Hera, she cursed Echo. She got mad at Echo because Echo was, she was being a little flirty with her man Zeus. So Hera was married to Zeus, and Hera saw Echo kind of being a little flirty, and she didn't like that. And Zeus, the Greek god, was just, gods are kind of full of themselves. So, he was a little, taken by Echo. So Hera's checking all this out, and she's like, oh no, ma'am. Oh no, ma'am. And so she cursed her to only repeat the last words spoken to her. Follow me. She couldn't speak for herself anymore. She then fell in love with Narcissus, the self-absorbed god who could not love, self-absorbed man who could only love his own reflection. So we know that's where the term narcissist or narcissism comes from, is the Greek god Narcissus. All right, so when Narcissus rejected Echo, she faded away. Hear me, y'all. When Narcissus rejected Echo, she faded away into heartbreak until only her voice remained. That is deep. If anybody has heard this, y'all just let me know, because this is my new one and only Greek mythology story that I know and love. This resonates with me so much. Okay, so listen, Echo symbolizes what happens to us, especially women, but men too. It's not just women, and I'm glad that men are on this live tonight as well, or maybe you're watching this later. So it's not just women, but especially women. Echo symbolizes the women who learn that their voice causes trouble. So they start echoing others instead of speaking their truth. Okay, Tarisha, I'm glad you haven't heard of this one. I'm dropping some new knowledge. All right, so follow me. Echo is a mountain nymph, a divine feminine spirit. I know Tarisha can relate to that because she is a divine feminine spirit, and she's very, well, okay, I digress. But Tarisha, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so Echo was cursed by Hera because Hera was messing around. Echo was messing around with Hera's man. So she cursed her to only speak the spoken words that were given to her. Okay, this myth captures the emotional dynamic that we face at the core of narcissistic relationships. So, number one, Echo loses her voice, just like many survivors who learn to silence your needs, your opinions, and your desires to avoid conflict or to keep the peace. How many of us remember keeping the peace? How many of us could calculate when was it a good time to bring something up, or when you should not bring something up, when to talk, when not to talk? Okay. How many of us were very keen to what their mood was, and we made sure to interact with them based on their mood? And so their mood really regulated, or dictated rather, our interactions with them. Okay, so if this is resonating with you, drop a yes in the chat. I want to know who's feeling this because I could not possibly be the only one. Okay, so here's something else about Echo. She becomes invisible in her love for someone who only sees themselves. She becomes invisible for the love for someone who only can see themselves. This is the epitome of a narcissistic relationship. I love Echo. I really feel for her. I feel her. Like this resonates with me so much. So much like how we, the survivors of a narcissistic relationship, we lose our sense of identity trying to please someone incapable of truly seeing our value. Okay, so we lose our identity trying to please someone incapable of truly seeing us. Okay, so this describes, if this resonates with you, I'm going to give you 4 things. If this resonates with you, then you feel Echo. You feel me and Echo. So this describes someone who is deeply afraid or just afraid of being seen as self-centered. So guess what? When they threaten us with by calling us the narcissist, that is so incredibly hurtful to us. Why? Because we are deeply afraid of being seen as self-centered. But that deep fear of being seen as self-centered, it also squashes our voice because we don't want to be anything like them, but then we end up realizing that in order to be in this relationship, we've had to become like them in many ways. But that's a survival technique. It's not who you are. That's really important. Okay, so this also describes someone who struggles to express needs or set boundaries. It describes someone who minimized your presence to avoid conflict and to avoid rejection. And it's someone who over focuses on other people's emotions while ignoring their own. This is what a narcissist is attracted to. This is what a narcissist is attracted to. So thank you. I see one guilty. I see one, yep, been there. And I say the same thing. I see 2 guilties. All right. So thank y'all for your honesty and transparency. And I am with you. It was me 1000%. I literally learned how to become small so that they could be big, be large. So tonight in the healing room, we're not just talking about a trait. We're unpacking how trauma can train us to abandon ourselves in the presence of an emotional predator. A narcissist is an emotional predator. Thank you, oh good God girl. I love that name. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. 1 through 4 check. I mean, this is very typical of who a narcissist is attracted to. And it's also because we're so empathetic that we're more likely to be more concerned about someone else than ourselves. And it doesn't just show up in our relationships. It shows up at work, at church, at home, or children. There's so many different ways that we embody this. And so many ways that it ends up reducing us so much so that we are trained to abandon ourselves. So in real life, echoists are the ones who were groomed to feel like their needs were too much. I can relate to that so much. And when it says groomed, it makes me think of my book. I wrote a book called Groomed: Life Married to a Narcissist and How I Overcame Narcissistic Abuse. And I absolutely was groomed to feel like my needs were too much. Now, it may not always come out like that from the narcissist. It may not always come across like that. But I guarantee you that's the impression that we get because of multiple attempts to try to assert ourselves, to try to set boundaries, to try to say no, to try to draw a line. Well, after so many times of this not working, then we let go. We slowly stop trying. We don't give up on the person. We don't give up on the relationship. We end up giving up on ourselves. And that's the tragic part of a relationship with a narcissist is we abandon ourselves. And healing is the act of recovering ourselves, recovering ourselves. Barbara says also becoming a servant to the narcissist. And that was me. That was me 1000%. And my family says that they know that I was his servant. And I don't mean that as in a slave. I just mean that I waited on him hand and foot. But guess what? I didn't see that as devaluing in the process, in the experience, in the act. I didn't see it as devaluing. I didn't see it as, oh, I'm being forced to do this. No, I considered it my wifely duty, which I was also conditioned to believe. But I accepted it because I wanted to be a good wife. And this is what was perceived by my husband at the time as being a good wife. And so, yes, absolutely, you can become a servant. So Tasha says, what happens if you stand up to the narcissist? Excellent question. And I'm going to give very specific things to do in this situation, but I will tell you, because I did try multiple times before I gave up trying. And that's when the manipulation happens. That's when the gaslighting happens. That's when the guilt tripping happens. That's when Darvo happens. They deny and then they attack. All I ever do is for you. All I ever do is this, that, and the other. And then reverse victim offender. Now they're the victim and I'm the offender. I don't know how that happened because I was the one who was trying to set a boundary, but that's what manipulation is. Okay, another question. Should I stay with a narcissist after healing and outgrowing them? That is an excellent question because I tried that too. We would love to believe that once we are better, are stronger, are healthier, that we can continue the relationship with the narcissist. And it's not wrong to think that. This is why it's a really good question. It's not wrong to think that. Because now that we understand manipulation, we don't engage in it, we don't react to it. Now we just observe it, but now we have healthy boundaries, which means I'm in control of my boundaries. And so I'm no longer being manipulated. But guess what? The problem is that, and you use this word, outgrow them. We outgrow them. Not only that, but we no longer serve them. And when you no longer serve a narcissist, you are of no use. You're no longer a supply to them. So in a sense, you outgrow each other. We outgrow our role as a servant or an echoist, and they outgrow the need for us as a supply, not outgrow it because he would have gladly stayed married for another 30 years, but because I was no longer being a supply, meaning submitting and serving, then it just is not going to work. The dynamics of the relationship crumble and fall, and they, without a doubt, will find, or they have a need at the lowest level, they have a need for a different supply. So even if you stay, they're going to find a supply that serves them the way they want. So healthy and narcissists, they don't go together. They don't go together. So you will thankfully outgrow them. And even if we try to maintain a relationship with them, they will always keep testing the water. They will always keep testing to try to pull you back in to the role that they need you in, which is to serve them in some way, shape, or form, or in many ways. Okay, So another question, does one realize they are echoing the narcissist? And I'm going to say no until we become aware. Awareness is the key. It's the very first step to recovering, to healing from a narcissistic relationship. I created the 5 stages of healing from narcissistic abuse. If you go to thepassagetopeace.com, you will see these 5 stages. You can take a free quiz to see what stage you're in, and you can join P2P Essentials to allow me to walk you through the 5 stages. But the first step is the paradigm shift. And that means, wait a minute, something is not right. That is the first sign of you healing, is when you say, you know what? I don't deserve this treatment. Or you know what? I deserve more. That is the beginning of the healing journey. So we're not aware that we're doing it, just like we're not aware when we're being manipulated, until we understand how a narcissist manipulates their partner, their supply. Once we become aware, then yes, this should resonate with you. But when you're in the relationship and experiencing denial and experiencing the devastating effects of the narcissistic abuse, where we're being conditioned over time to not need, to not ask, to not be respected, to not be appreciated, to not be all of these things that we need, we are constantly suppressing our needs in this relationship. I know I never knew that I was echoing. However, I did know, I think I might take that back a little bit. I think I might take that back. I did know that I was learning him. I did know that I was learning what pleased him, what made him happy, what made me a good wife in his eyes. I did know that I was learning that. That was important to me. That's the problem, though. Don't get me wrong. This is not a good thing, okay? Because that was me very slowly, willingly giving up myself, abandoning myself. And so again, this is something else that narcissists are attracted to, is someone who's willing to do that. Narcissists are attracted to someone who is willing to comply, to submit, at least to be a supply in some way. That's why they're with us. Okay. So you said, I've heard a spouse echoing, and it's so obvious to me. And oh, I love that too, Barbara. I love that. You've seen it. As an outsider looking in, you've seen it. And that is the difference. That's a huge difference between being in it and observing it from the outside. And that's when the outside person says, girl, what are you doing? Don't let him talk to you like that. Or why you got to get his plate? Can't he get his own plate? Can't he serve himself? Why you got to? That I've heard that so many times. But to me, I'm just being a good wife. I'm just making my husband happy. And I want to make my husband look good. That makes me feel good. But that's echoing. That's echoing. So here are 5 signs that you might be an echoist. 5 signs. 1, you apologize, even if you've not done anything wrong. That's what gaslighting will make us do, is we're so confused and they're so angry and so upset and so disappointed in us. And they've now reversed victim offender, which, by the way, I have a course that I'm creating on Darvo. That's something else that you will soon hear about. If you join my mailing list, I'm happy to share that with you. Drop recap in the chat. Let's get in touch. I want to talk to you. I want to share with you. So that's 1. Number 2, you downplay your pain, accomplishments, or desires. Do you ever find yourself just not even sharing? Or maybe looking back, you didn't share, or you stopped sharing as much because either it wasn't validated, it wasn't encouraged, and maybe you were even manipulated to think that you were being self-centered. I know I was told that many times. I used to be told I was selfish. And I worried about that. I don't want to be seen as selfish. This is part of the echoing. I don't want to be seen as selfish. So whatever I could do to not be seen as selfish is what I wanted to do. But instead, what that meant was abandoning myself in order to serve or to be of a supply to a narcissist. Um, oh, and then Barbara says, but I thought the spouse really believed the narcissist. Oh, we're good at that. Oh, we are so good at that. Oh my goodness. Listen, we learn how to play our part. I was so good. I was so good at playing my part that when we finally went to couples therapy, I spewed out 30 years worth of anger, frustration, resentment, sadness, pain, everything bad in the book. And my ex looked at me like, where is all this coming from? I had abandoned myself, my needs, my feelings, because it did not serve me to try to, I lost hope of getting my needs met, of having my boundaries respected. And I was so good at masking. They're not the only ones who mask. We mask too. Okay. So that's something else that we come to the realization of is that we too mask. So we downplay our pain, accomplishments, and desires. You struggle to ask for help. Praise makes you uncomfortable. Does anybody feel like that? Oh, I don't want recognition. I just want to do, this is just what I'm supposed to do. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being praised for or recognized or praised for something good. Janine says, I'm sure I won an Abused Beyond Recognition award for masking so well. I love that. You and me both. Abused Beyond Recognition award and masking the hell out of it. No one would know. I am with you on that. Okay. Lastly, signs you might be an echoist. You avoid conflict at all costs, even when you're deeply hurt. Even when you're deeply hurt. Now, listen, why are narcissists drawn to echoists? Narcissists crave attention and control. We know that. But echoists give both without a fight. Now, that's either because we lost the fight too many times and gave up, or it's because we want to be who they need us to be. And honestly, I'm being honest and transparent with you guys. That was me. I wanted to be who he wanted me to be because he held the key to recognizing me as a good and acceptable wife. I gave him that power. Just turned it right on over. Echoists internalize blame, making them vulnerable to gaslighting and manipulation. We're already, see, this is the 50% that's us. Because if you think about it, if you really challenge yourself, you can think about how this can play out, not just in a relationship with a narcissist, but at work, at church, at events. There are so many different ways that we internalize. What is someone thinking about me? How does someone feel about me? Okay, there's so many different ways that this presents itself, if we're honest. If we're honest. So another reason why narcissists are drawn to echoists, it becomes a cycle. The more the narcissist demands, the smaller the echoist becomes. Woo! The more they demand, the smaller we become. All right, so listen, how does it start? How do we even become an echoist? Uh-oh, mom might want to close her ears. My mom is here tonight. Hi, mommy. All right, how echoism starts. There are childhood experiences with emotionally unavailable or narcissistic parents. Now, I must say that's not my experience. And I'm not just saying that because my mom is here tonight. That is truly not my experience. I did not grow up with narcissistic parents, but so many echoists did. So another reason that echoism can start is trauma that taught you that your needs equal punishment or rejection. Try to think back, and this may be something you're processing in therapy, but what did you experience as a child or in your formative years that taught you that your needs were not valued? Or religious or cultural messages that glorify self-sacrifice and silence. Okay, here is 4 costs. Here's the price we pay: identity loss, chronic people pleasing, emotional isolation, and attracting narcissistic or emotionally unavailable partners. Listen, the more we can own what's ours, our 50%, that is what heals us and frees us from attracting unavailable partners. Who here is or used to be a chronic people pleaser? Who here has experienced identity loss? Who here has experienced emotional isolation? I was about to say incarceration, that too. Emotional isolation. This is a very isolating thing because we are suppressing our needs. We are reducing ourselves in order to become who the narcissist needs us to be. How to begin healing. This is a question that someone asked earlier. Let's get into it before we end. How to begin healing. Get curious about your silence. Where did you learn to shrink? Where did that come from? I honestly am not sure when I think about it for myself, but I do know because I met my narcissist when I was 17. Now, I do know I've always been a people pleaser, but I met my narcissist at such a young age that during the 5 years that we were dating, he was molding me. He was grooming me, just literally from day one. So I learned to shrink very early on in this relationship. The next thing you can do to begin to heal is start practicing small acts of self-expression every day. Recognize yourself. Validate yourself. Self, 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 self. Say it until it doesn't sound self-centered anymore. Say it until it doesn't sound selfish anymore, because it's not. We learned that from somewhere, and it's time to turn it off. Replace that. So this is where journaling comes in. This takes practice. The brain does not let go of anything easily, y'all. Nothing. Practice saying no. Practice asking for help. Say it to yourself in the mirror. It's going to look silly, sound silly, feel silly, doesn't matter. It's because it's unfamiliar. How come other people don't have to practice? Well, because they did not have the same experiences. They didn't learn somewhere that reducing themselves is what got them attention or got them validation externally. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Your experience is yours. And just like someone said earlier today, an outsider looking in is not going to understand. It's not that person that just cannot possibly understand. As much as they love you, as much as they want to understand and will accept you. I'm so thankful my family, well, because I was married to an overt narcissist, it was no surprise that he was a narcissist. He didn't hide it. But I'm so thankful that they didn't judge me, well, to my face. I think my sister and mom had a few discussions behind my back. But anyway, all is forgiven because I'm now aware. I'm now fully aware. And I agree. I can now agree and own that, yeah, that's where I was. And I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. I have found my voice, and that's why I talk a lot. I love to talk because I'm going to use my voice. And like you said, Janine, it goes back to love yourself. If I had loved myself more, then there were certain things, many things that would have been absolutely not. Are you crazy? No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not allowing you to do this. There would be so many things that would have been deal breakers long before 30 years, long before 2010, 5, 1 year. If I had known myself, self. Okay, the last thing that you can do, amongst many others, two more things. Reframe boundaries as acts of love, not rejection. Saying no is an act of love. Loving who? Yourself. And we have got to get past seeing that as selfish. And when we're in a relationship with a narcissist, we see it as selfish because look at who we're looking at. Someone who loves themselves so much. Narcissus, the Greek god Narcissus, loved himself so much that he was attracted to Echo, someone who could only repeat back what he said. That's how much he loved himself. So, understandably, we are not going to feel comfortable loving ourselves. Oh, I love myself. Oh, I'm so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm so smart. How does that sound? How does that sound? But we don't, and I'm going to say this out of assumption and speak for myself, that it doesn't come naturally for us. And so we're not going to say it obnoxiously. But it's okay to feel it. It's okay to walk in it. It's okay to live it. So listen, before we end, here are 3 quotes that I love. Your voice is not too loud. Their comfort is just too fragile. Listen, y'all. Your voice is not too loud. Their comfort with your voice is too fragile. Please sit with that for a minute. Next, you learned silence to survive. I'm going to reframe that. I learned silence to survive. I now know self-expression and I thrive. I love that. I got to say it again. I love it. I learned silence to survive. And now I know self-expression and I thrive. That might be my favorite. Third one, there is no peace in making yourself small in order to be loved. Why do you think we don't find peace until we leave a relationship with a narcissist? There's no peace in making yourself small in order to be loved. There is no peace. So listen, y'all, I've kept you long enough. In closing, if this resonates with you, I want you to know you are not broken. You were just taught to disappear. You were just taught, conditioned, groomed to disappear. Okay? But that is not your story. So please go to thepassagetopeace.com. Check out all of the services that I have, anywhere from one-on-one coaching services. I have coaching groups that are very specific to these types of topics for men and women. And I have a 7-week program called P2P Essentials, Passage to Peace Essentials, where I walk you through the 5 stages of healing that I created as a licensed therapist, narcissistic abuse recovery coach, and 30 years of experience, and now survivor from a narcissistic marriage. Okay? Join my wait list, book a one-on-one coaching session. Let's stop echoing. Let's stop echoing. Let's start using our voice. Let's start using our voice. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you so much. I'm happy for you too. I am preaching. Yes, I am, and I love it. I'm using my voice. I will preach until the day I die because my voice has been silenced for too long. Too long. Oh, thank you, Janine. She said, I wish I had you around during my recovery. And I feel you. I feel you. And that's why I will always be here for you and anyone else. Because this is a journey. And I wish I had it too, Janine. I feel you. I wish I had it too. And you are so welcome. Thank y'all for being here. Again, if you missed this and you see any other posts on my Instagram, drop recap anywhere. It doesn't have to be here tonight. You can drop recap anywhere. and you will get a recap of our conversation tonight. But I'm here every Monday night, every Monday night, every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much. Submit your questions. I'm happy to add them to the list and come join me and let's talk about it. I love the interaction. I love being here for you. Thank you so much. God bless. Good night.